name is Victoria Fernandez and welcome to my channel, I Live to Inspire Mental Health. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I post videos about mental health and my experience with bipolar disorder and OCD. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my experience or managing my mental health as an employee at Google. And you can find this video as a podcast in Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So with that, let's get started. I first wanted to talk about the fact that I have been very inconsistent this year, and I've said this in several videos already, but I have been finding that, managing work and huge life events and a YouTube channel and, all of these life events and like I said before, all that kind of stuff has been very difficult. It has made it really hard to find work-life balance, all that kind of stuff. So I'm still working on it, but honestly, I am really excited to be sharing, everything that has been going on so far. If you've been following me, you would know that I moved to San Francisco with my husband in August, and the city is absolutely beautiful. We love it, and we've met the most amazing people, the most amazing friends, and so that has made me really happy. All that kind of stuff has been really fun, and yeah, that has been really cool. And you would also know that I started working at Google, the best company in the whole world. I mean, all of the things that I'm blessed to have every single day, at work, the free food, the people, just everything, is amazing. And I do want to say that although all these amazing things are happening, I have been struggling with my mental health. I mean, having a mental illness is not just something that you can shut off or it just goes away. It's something that we have to live with for the rest of our lives, for in one way or another. And I have to say that it has been affecting me ever since I started working. New responsibilities, things I've never done before, fears, and obviously the OCD has been crazy, and that has been really hard for me. I've also learned that talking about mental illness while I'm stable is so much easier than talking about my mental illness when I'm struggling. And it's really hard to talk about because obviously I'm having all these opportunities and being I'm struggling. It's not something that you would like to share with the world, but I have always been very honest and open with you guys about my experiences. And honestly, this channel and your comments and your messages and all that kind of stuff are really a huge motivation for me to keep going and seek the help that I need to seek, which I have been doing. But I do want to share some of the experiences, and I do want to say I am extremely blessed to be here, and that just struggling is a normal part of changes, of moving, starting a new job, new responsibilities, all that kind of stuff. And having a mental illness just can make it a little harder, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible to overcome. It is absolutely possible, and I'm doing everything I can, and I have the best support from my husband and my friends and at work, to help me handle all this stuff. But some of the things I've been going through are definitely I started working, and I'm doing things I've never done before, and my brain likes to be very mean to me and tell me, you can't do it, you don't deserve to be here, you don't deserve all these things that are happening to you, you're gonna fail at it, what if they hire you, all this kind of stuff. And it's really extremely hard. The intrusive thoughts that come with the OCD have been really, really, really tormenting. And during work, it has been really affecting me during work because whenever I'm with my friends and my husband, it's all good and stuff like that. But whenever I feel insecure, stressed, it has really been horrible. There's little things such as I'll have a conversation with somebody, and then I feel I said something wrong, I acted the wrong way, and my brain just won't let it go. I'll spend nights thinking about it, and it's really hard because I'm what if these people hate me? What if I'm not good enough? What if all this stuff? And it's in my head over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it's really loud, and that's hard. I try to practice the things that I tell you guys to do, with the just let the thought pass. But it's extremely hard, and we know that it's really hard. I definitely do that a lot more with smaller things, like let's say like I didn't close like the windows or whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, an intruder is gonna come in, we're all gonna die, like those horrible thoughts. And then I'm like, nope, that's not gonna happen. I am not gonna close the shield, the blinds. I'm just gonna like let it be, it'll be fine. And so I like work with my brain through that. But it's been hard. I mean, I think I had these 2 weeks where I was so not okay. I wanted to sleep all day. I didn't want to go to work. I was crying randomly, and I was like, no, like my bipolar disorder might be spiking and I cannot have a relapse. Obviously, like there's like so many other stresses. Like I hadn't found a psychiatrist, and like I was scared I was gonna run out of medications. What do I do? And it's just a lot going on. Plus, all the insecurities that I had felt in my job and stuff like that, and that's something I'm still working on. So I had those like that time period where I was really bad. Like I would just cry in the middle of the day. My thoughts were just so tormenting. Like they wouldn't shut up, and like I would just I'd be doing something, and then an intrusive thought would come in, and it would just build up and up and up and up and up until I was in tears, and I didn't want to do anything. Like it was hard, and I'm so thankful, grateful, and blessed to have someone, my husband, there and like calming me down and talking to me and like seeking help. And what I did in those times, it's like I seeked help. Like that's what I tell you guys all the time. And it was like finding a therapist or going to the therapist, and then going to the doctor, getting blood tests to look at my lithium levels, all that kind of stuff. The one thing I still haven't done is gone to a psychiatrist, because as it's really hard to like find a doctor that has appointments that is good and all that kind of stuff. So I'm still waiting for my appointment on that. But I have been talking to doctors. I have been working out more. I have been doing all these things that make me feel good, feel better. And I'm not going to lie, it's not perfect yet. Last week I had a panic attack, and it's a terrible feeling whenever I was just watching TV with Ramon, and like we were just watching a series, and suddenly I'm like kind of hyperventilating, and like I'm like, I don't feel my arm anymore, I don't feel my lips anymore. And it's hard. It's hard to go through that. It's hard to go through it after being stable for so long. And just there's so much fear that comes with all of that. So I mean, it's definitely a work in progress, but I wanted to be honest about that, because I think it's so important to talk about it. I think it's so important to understand that like life is never perfect. Something, I'm not saying like bad things are going to be happening all the time. No, but there's always progress to be made and all this kind of stuff and growth. And I think I'm blessed to be in a company where we get free therapy and we get so many resources, and the people are amazing, and I have people to talk to. I still have to do more to improve, but it's like I think that in a weird way, yes, I'm struggling like with that specific thing right now. But at the same time, I'm like so happy, like in like all like being here, going to the office at Google is so much fun. The people are so much fun. Like I just like my friends and we just like meet up there, have breakfast, and that's my favorite part, the breakfast, because I'm a picky eater. So like lunch sometimes like I don't know what to eat, but for breakfast they have these lattes and like the bagels, and sometimes they have like cakes like lemon cake, and I love it, and chocolate chip cookies. I love sugar. So it's like at the same time, like even though I'm struggling sometimes with that, I have all these other amazing things around me that are supporting me, that are like helping me feel better, overcome, and I know that I will overcome. Whenever I was thinking about making this video, I was thinking like I want to wait until I've got it all figured out. But then I was like, I don't have to show myself as, oh, I'm perfect, I figured it out, this is how you do it. I want to also show myself in a vulnerable place, which I am in right now. And, share that it's okay. If you're going through that, you're not alone. It's possible to keep going. It's possible to be successful. That's another thing. I've met so many successful people who have bipolar disorder, who have OCD, and it makes me feel so good to not be alone. It makes me feel so good to talk about it. And that's something else I always tell y'all, like, talk about your feelings, talk about your experiences. You are not alone. And I feel like Google has a space for that. They have a space for conversations. They have a space for, you know, us to feel safe, to talk about it, to share experiences. And I've met the most wonderful people through that. And I'm so excited for like the future of that, future of mental health, you know, with work and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely I'm learning a lot through this process. It's different than whenever I was struggling, you know, whenever I was younger or at the beginning of COVID or whatever. It's a different thing, but it's like it's not always easy. But like I said before, I know that I will overcome, and I know that I have like very amazing people in my life and amazing things. And like, you know, the next video I make for y'all is going to be about all these like, well, first like things that I've done in San Francisco, but then also like crazy things like the fact that my camera was stolen, and that was very sad because, as y'all know, I was super excited for my new camera that I got like back in May. And it was kind of like a celebration to like getting to 1,000 subscribers, all that kind of stuff. But whatever, life happens, it's all good. But I wanted to show you guys a little something more fun. So I'm hoping to make that video, like the next video, about, you know, all those kinds of experiences and all that wonderful stuff. And I also wanted to say that, you know, like sometimes, and this is like the positive toxic thing that I always talk about, that a lot of influencers, a lot of people on social media, even like, you know, people that we follow, like regular people, talk about this perfect life, and that's just never it. And sometimes we can feel overwhelmed, and we can feel like we're doing something wrong, and like we're not you know, doing our best, or all that kind of stuff, because we see just the perfect shiny lives of other people, and that is never the truth. There's like, life is imperfect. Nobody, and like, you know, we're all struggling in some way. Like some people, like not everybody has a mental illness, but we all have hassles in life, things we go through. For us, it's a mental health struggle. And I mean, I think it's hard to talk to people who don't understand it. But it's also so important to talk about it and to raise awareness, because it's such a real experience. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it's so much harder to talk about mental health and like all this kind of stuff when struggling, because I'm usually very much like, oh, I have bipolar disorder, I have this. But it's like, it's different when I feel like crying all day, when I feel like I can't, you know, make it through another day, like, and not in like, you know, life-threatening kind of way, just kind of like, you know, like surviving, like without those thoughts of like, oh, you're gonna get fired, oh, you're not good enough, oh, you're like, why are you here, like all this kind of stuff, the self-doubt. But I have to, like, you know, take myself back and be like, I'm here for a reason, I made it for a reason, I'm going to overcome, I'm going to learn, I'm going to be okay. Like, it's okay to make mistakes, nobody's perfect, like everybody says the wrong thing sometimes, everyone like makes the wrong like decisions or whatever, and that's okay. Like I have to tell myself that over and over and over again, and then like when I do, that just makes me feel better. And it also makes you feel better to, you know, just talk to other people, talk about the feelings. And it's not always easy. Sometimes I just feel like crawling up in bed and like not saying anything, not talking. The anxiety is so high that it makes it hard to function. But you know, getting help, so important. Physical activity, so important. Talking about it, so important. Checking up on the medications. Oh, and also something that was affecting me even more, like was making it worse, was the fact that I wasn't sleeping a lot. Because, you know, new city, friends, going out, this and that, and then like I was, you know, not sleeping too much. And with bipolar disorder, with mental illnesses in general, it's so important to sleep. It's so important to take care of it. And I wasn't necessarily doing that. And so I had to, like, you know, step take a step back and be like, I have to set limits on how I'm going to be living my life, because you know it's important to have fun and all this kind of stuff, but it's also important to take care of my mental health. And you know, that's something that I've been doing, sleeping more, and like that has helped a lot. But I will keep you guys updated on all of this, and I will hopefully make more videos about the experience at Google, like overall, because it's absolutely fascinating, like all the amazing things that we get to do, all the amazing people that I work with. I mean, that like, I don't know, I'm just so blessed to have that. So I'm hoping that you found this video helpful in some way. I'm hoping that, you know, if you're struggling, it makes you feel a little less alone. If you're struggling at work especially, or at school, know that everything will be okay. It's just, think about like, you know, any moment before this where you struggled with something. You overcame, and you'll overcome this too. I'm gonna overcome, and I'm gonna be telling a story like, hey, this is exactly what I did to overcome this obstacle. I know I will. Since I've been through this before, like, you know, struggling and stuff, I'm always like, I just want to get through the part where I'm like, I'm fine and like I can just talk about it. But I have to be patient. I have to just seek the help, trust the process, and you know, it'll get better. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like it. It really does help for more people to watch it. And you know, subscribe, comment, share it, and always remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and a bad day does not mean a bad life.